You know, during the holidays, all these guys are like, make this 15 days ahead of time. But when cooking time rolls around, sometimes that's not always feasible. Thanksgiving is a time where most of us in America get excited about despite any potential family arguments you might be looking forward to. But there is one element that I won't be looking forward to, and that is the element of overeating. That's where today's sponsor, Tums, comes in. Yes, like the Tums. Like Tums. You know what I'm talking about. I don't get heartburn often, but my family and friends definitely do. So maybe if you're having a little Friendsgiving shindig and your friend Mark won't stop complaining about, oh, my heartburn, then just hand that dude a bottle of this and he'll stop doing all that whining. Food is supposed to connect us all, so if you're like me this Thanksgiving, you want to try a little bit of everything and maybe you get a little heartburn, Tums can provide fast relief for you. So you know what to do, click the link in the description to learn more and buy now. Look, I love Thanksgiving, but I have a feeling this Thanksgiving is gonna have a little bit of an awkward lift to it. People are just getting back into the swing of things, maybe you're a little bit rusty. Or maybe you just came straight off Google and you're like, well, slap my knee, kiss my horse, I gotta make Thanksgiving dinner today. And you don't have anything prepped. Big no-no. But thankfully for you, I will be blessing your day and entire life with this video so that you can survive and I'll be right by your side giving you little kisses. Now with all that being said, back to the challenge. Sometimes you find yourself at a crunch and you need to make a last minute Thanksgiving dinner, and that is what this is gonna be about. We have a clock, there it is. We have 4 hours to make a Thanksgiving meal for the whole family. This is enough to make for 10 people, but you can obviously scale it up and it won't really increase the time whatsoever if you need to. So if you found yourself on this video in urgent need of help, you came to the right place. The last thing I wanna say is this is not your perfect, oh, I have to have my perfect little side dish I have every year. We're on a ticking clock, folks, okay? The goal is to move fast, make something quickly, last second, and yet simultaneously unforgettably delicious. This is a last minute Thanksgiving dinner. Let's begin. Okay, the clock is ticking and we've got major items to make. So let's do this in an order that saves us the most time. The turkey is a big bottleneck, so we're gonna spatchcock it to cook it faster. No more 3-hour turkeys this way. But hold your horses. If you start with your turkey, you've now inundated the oven, and I'm just gonna assume that you can only do one item in the oven at a time. So instead, let's begin with the stuffing. Get yourself 1 to 2 large loaves of brioche bread, 1 if they're relatively large, and 2 if they're on the small side. Cut that into 1-inch cubes, spread it on a baking sheet, pop that into an oven set to 350 Fahrenheit, and bake, tossing occasionally for about 10 to 15 minutes or until dry and toasty. They might still be a tiny bit soft on the inside, but look, it's fine. The purists will say, oh, it's a no-no. But those that are revolutionary don't abide by the rule makers. Anyway, spray a 9x13 baking pan with vegetable oil and toss in your bread. In a saucepan, artfully, toss in 3/4 cup or 168 grams of unsalted butter, set the heat to medium, and let that melt until, melted, in case you might have guessed. Then add in 1 rough chopped yellow onion, 3 ribs of celery, rough chopped, season to taste with salt, stir, and let that sweat, stirring occasionally until softened, about 3 to 4 minutes. Then add 1 tablespoon of dried oregano, or oregano if you're English. Sorry, that was rude. Let that cook for 1 minute. In a separate bowl, add 2 large eggs and a splash of your chicken stock, which the total amount of stock you're gonna need is 2 cups or 420 milliliters. Whisk until thoroughly combined, then add the rest of that chicken stock to your sweating veg, cut the heat, and add 2 tablespoons or 4 grams of fresh chopped sage. Now, pour your egg mixture evenly across your bread and your stock and veg mixture. Give that a light toss, hit it with flaky salt, and spank yourself because it's only been a few minutes and we're ready for the oven. Cover that with foil, pop it in the oven, set to 350 Fahrenheit for 25 minutes, then uncover it and bake for 25 to 30 more minutes, or until completely set and crisp on top. Now look, we're not just gonna stand here twiddling our thumbs and dancing around the kitchen while that's baking. We need to move on to our next project. Let's do mashed potatoes.
An easy next step.
Get yourself 3.5 pounds or 1.5 kilograms of russet potatoes, take their cheeky little jackets off, rough chop, and place in a pot of water and bring to a boil. Let those boil until just barely fork tender, about 8 minutes. While those are boiling, in a small sauce pot, and look how cute this one is. I love it, I just wanna kiss it. Mwah. Okay, enough love, we need to speed up. Add in 3/4 cup or 168 grams of unsalted butter, 1/2 cup or 120 milliliters of whole milk. Poop that onto the stove over medium heat until hot. Oh la la, mon chéri, my little persona. Now drain those titers, pop them into a bowl, mash with a hand masher, move it to a larger bowl because the original bowl you picked was too small. And once those are as smooth as you can get them, add in your buttery, mommy, milky mixture. Stir together until evenly incorporated, then 1/2 cup or 130 grams of creme fraiche. Season to taste with salt, 1/2 bunch of thinly sliced chives, fold together until completely combined, and those are your lovely mashed taters. Please, I am begging you, season these with salt to the absolute max. Potatoes can take a lot of salt. There aren't many more culinary injustices comparable to an under-salted mashed potato. Now wrap that up and keep it warm. At this point, your stuffing is probably still going, so let's hurry and make a quick cranberry sauce. You're doing great, all right? Just breathe in and out. Papa's got you.
Cranberry sauce is dummy easy. In a medium saucepan, add 12 ounces or 340 grams of fresh or frozen cranberries, 1¼ cup or 300 grams of granulated sugar, half a cup or 110 grams of orange juice, a quarter cup or 60 grams of yuzu vinegar or lemon juice. Oh, and of course, 2 nice pieces of orange zest peeled off with a peeler, avoiding any white pith. Such a gross word, pith. Pop that onto your stove, set over medium-high, and bring that to a boil and let it bubble away until half reduced and syrupy, but still has a little bit of liquid left in it, like this. About 5 to 8 minutes. Pop that bad boy into a blender, like literally all of it, including the orange zest, and blend that on high until it's as smooth as a Lamborghini Alcantara roof liner. Pass that through a fine mesh sieve, and you have a beautifully glossy, perfect cranberry sauce for little baby. Okay, now at this point your stuffing should be done. Pull that bad boy out of the oven and look at that. Ready to be eaten, except we're not gonna eat it, so lightly tent that and place it to the side to be rewarmed for serving. Now, for the turkey. We already talked about how spatchcocking, all right? Get used to the word. A lot of people get uncomfortable with this, all right? We're gonna say it together. Spatchcock. It's one word. Spatchcocking. Don't be weird about it. This is the key to the fastest cooked, juiciest whole turkey humanly possible. Well, aside from maybe if you sous vide it. Now get yourself a nice turkey. This one's about 8.5 pounds or 3.8 kilograms. Give it some love. Oof. Wow. Very nice. Once you've wined and dined your turkey, get some kitchen shears, cut along both sides of the spine, and remove it entirely. Normally we'd use this for the gravy, but we're on a time crunch, all right? Pop it in the freezer. Obviously wrapped up. Flip the bird so the open back faces down. Press down hard on the breast. Excuse me, madame. Until it cracks and lays flat. Cover a baking sheet with foil in line with a wire rack. Pop your turkey onto that. Give it a nice rub. You know, a little massage. It's had a long day, you know? It's got a lot of work to do later. Work those kinks out. With some softened, unsalted butter or olive oil. You know, get a little bit of the butter under the skin too. Why not? Then underneath the turkey, add 2 heads of garlic cut in half and an array of any fresh herbs that you like. I've got fresh rosemary and sage. Give it an additional coating with a glug or 2 of olive oil. Give it another little massage. Season generously with salt. You know, get a little under its skin if you can. Not with hateful words, but you know, by getting up in there. Pop that into an oven set to 450 Fahrenheit for 20 minutes. Then lower the temp to 400 and roast for 15 to 20 more minutes. Reaches at least 160 Fahrenheit. Yes, 160. It will coast the rest of the way to 165. If you're worried about it, then do 165. Now while that's roasting, what are we gonna do? Twiddle our thumbs, huh? Go preemptively set up your holiday get up in your house? Wrong. First, we're gonna make our veggies. In a large saute pan, heat just enough vegetable oil to coat the bottom of the pan, set over medium high. Once the oil is shimmering and hot, add in 2 bunches of green onion, cut into 3/4 inch segments, and sear, tossing occasionally for 3 minutes or until you get some light charring and they're cooked through. Reduce the heat to medium-low and add 4 cloves of garlic thinly sliced, 2 Thai chilies thin sliced, and 2 shallots, you guessed it, thin sliced. When I say thin, by the way, I mean like push yourself. Please, make it thin, all right? Not ½ an inch thick. Thin! Let that sweat until the veg is completely soft, about 4 to 5 minutes, then add in 3 cups or 300 grams of green beans cut in half, and let that cook just until the beans are barely beginning to soften. Want that nice snap, pop in my mouth. Place all that into a bowl, then heat another couple tablespoons of vegetable oil or olive oil in the pan until ripping hot. Add in 1/4 head of cabbage thinly sliced, and sear, tossing occasionally until you get some light coloration, and it's beginning to wilt, but still has crunch. About 1 to 2 minutes. Place that in your bowl along with 2 green onion thinly sliced, the zest of 1 lemon, some crispy shallots if you have them, a generous glug of extra virgin olive oil, salt and pepper to taste, and lemon juice to taste. Toss together and you have one of the best hot salads you've ever seen. It's basically an upscale version of green bean casserole, except like a break away from the years and years of green bean Thanksgiving monotony. And don't go whining in the comments, oh, I have to have my green bean casserole. You know what? You got 4 hours, pal. What do you want? Now for the gravy, we don't have time to make chicken stock. Cool, I've got a workaround, and this is one of the very few times I will ever give you a solution to the horrifying, terrible pre-made chicken stock that's at the store. But it's a little thing I like to call shiradashi. And don't you dare try and use this method against me later on. Say, oh, well, Josh, I didn't have chicken stock, but I did this. Don't you do it. In a medium saucepan, add 1/4 cup or 44 grams of unsalted butter and 1/4 cup or 35 grams of duck fat. If you don't have duck fat, you can use all butter. Heat that over medium heat until completely melted. Then add 1/2 cup or 75 grams of all-purpose flour, whisk together till combined, and allow that to cook, stirring often, for about 45 seconds. Then add in 3 1/4 cup or 770 milliliters of probably poopy chicken stock, along with 1/2 cup or 120 milliliters of shiradashi, also known as papa's crutch. Let that heat, stirring often until thickened to your liking. Optionally, if you want some further depth of flavor, feel free to add a sprig or 2 of fresh rosemary, lightly bruised, left to steep in your hot, yummy papa gravy for about 5 minutes. Okay, everything's ready. It's the home stretch, and the turkey's about to knock it out the park. Pull it out of the oven and it. Maybe you don't have time to let it rest more than 10 minutes. That's totally fine. It's gonna be a little juice everywhere, all right? might dry out a little bit, but you know what? God dang did it. Get yourself a nice sharp knife, carve her up beautifully, remove the legs, separate the thigh and the drumstick on both of them. Remove each of the breasts, daintily, of course. Slice the breast on a bias, leaving that quiff skin intact as best as you can. Remove the bone from the thigh meat, chop into bite-sized pieces, and lay atop beautifully placed herbs on a serving platter. Then just assemble all your beautiful sides. Toppings, garnishes, butter-soaked mashed potatoes, and as I stated before, you can scale these recipes up or down depending on how many people you're going to be serving, and it won't have much of a bearing on prep time at all, especially if you get an additional protein like ham that's already pre-cooked. Now we check the clock and ka-chow. Look at that, brother. 4 hours in, we have a Thanksgiving meal. Now let's taste test and see if we were able to maybe make it even a little better than the typical Thanksgiving dinner, made 90% faster than all of them.
Right. Look away, Vikram. A little bit of stuffing, a little bit of veg, a little bit of taters. Boom. Put a little divot in there. A little bit of turkey, a little bit of breast, maybe a little bit of thigh. You can't forget. I'm gonna quenelle this. And then last, but certainly not least, a beautiful gravy right in the middle. Oh, good Lord. This is a very light Thanksgiving meal plate. I would go way harder than this, but we have a full scale meal, plenty. More than enough. Unfortunately, there were supposed to be people coming. None of them showed up, but the crew's here and they're gonna be eating today. Shout out to them immediately. Damn! The mashed potatoes and the gravy, absolutely busting. That shiradashi gravy, that is how you fortify a chicken stock at the store. You throw in a couple squirts, get yourself a good old gravy right there. Onto the turkey, spatchcocked it. Busting. I'll be honest with you, I left it in there a little too long, all right? Which is ironic, because we were in a hurry. This was so easy that we were just sitting there. We were just like, oh wait. This was undeniably easy. Stuffing, this is how I like my stuffing. The little tiny little pieces of cornbread that have been sitting in a bag dried up for years. That's what you want? Damn, the salad's really good. Whether you're cooking your Thanksgiving dinner last second or not, this salad needs to be on your plate. Period, end of story. I'm not explaining why, try it for yourself, you'll find out why. My last thing I wanna say, cranberry sauce, done. Over, canceled! I'm canceling canned cranberry sauce. Enough is enough. This takes, how long does this take, Vikram? Like 8 minutes? 8 minutes to make your own cranberry sauce and blend it, have it look beautifully glossy like this. Tastes 10,000 times better. And we were under time constraint. The whole crew is eating. It's been done in less than 4 hours. What more could you possibly want? If you have a last minute Thanksgiving dinner that's coming up right now and you're on this video and you're yourself, well, don't you worry. Papa's got you. I'm gonna hold you. Gonna carry you through the leaves into the kitchen and tell you to stop being a little baby and just do the goddamn work.
You wanna know what else has big, juicy, dripping thighs and crisp skin? B-roll.
Alright guys, and that is it. Look, this was a massive W. And I hope that it was both entertaining and helpful for you in the future, or maybe right now, if you're watching the video and you're freaking out. Big breath in and big breath out. This is one of those dinners that everyone thinks you need massive, massive, massive amounts of prep in advance to get it done, and it's just not true. That's the whole point of this video. Now, granted, prepping is helpful and ideal, but sometimes you just gotta crank it out. A little bit of focus and a little bit of intention to get the job done, and maybe a little bit of help from our sponsor, Tums. You know, for any potential problematic aftermath that you may or may not have. So thank you again to Tums for sponsoring today's video. If you wanna learn more or you wanna get yourself a bottle of Tums, go to the link in the description, click that goddamn thing, and get you a bottle. Now, with all that being said, if you enjoyed this video or you learned something, leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you next time.